Hi, I'm Glenn Rogers, and this is American Perspectives. Today we're going to talk about immigration issues. Immigration is a major issue for our society. Lots of people get pretty upset about the whole immigration issue. Why is that? Why is immigration such a volatile topic for many people? Well, I think for one reason is that because so many people want to come here. It is quite literally the case that people from all over the world want to immigrate to America. And that's fine. There's no issue with that. But the fact is, when people come here in large numbers, and there are about 1 million people a year who immigrate here legally through the immigration system, that's a lot of people. And immigration impacts our society in significant ways. When you bring in 1 million new people a year, plus the people who are born here, that's a lot of people every year. And that impacts different segments of our society. It impacts healthcare. Our healthcare system. It impacts the educational system. It impacts housing. It impacts economics, okay? You just can't have that many people coming all the time without it having an impact on different aspects of society. And if that immigration, in the thinking of some, is inappropriate, then that's one of the big challenges that we have in wrestling with the issue. So what we have to understand is that there is a difference between legal and illegal immigration. Most people in America have no issue with immigration per se, okay? Most people understand that we welcome immigration here and that people from all over the world come here, and this is a good thing. In our family, we have some personal experience with it, and that one of my daughter-in-laws is from Thailand. She came here several years ago. She came here legally. She filled out all the forms. She acquired the appropriate visas. She came here, followed all the rules, reapplied for the visas when she needed to. She had a job. She was working. She also met one of my sons, and they fell in love and were married, and she's part of the family now, and she has become a citizen. She went through the whole process and became a citizen, and we were delighted. We were happy with that. It doesn't matter that she was born in Thailand instead of being born here in America. And I think most people here understand that legal immigration is not a problem, that in fact it's actually a blessing. It's a good thing for America. And it's the way America was actually intended to work. Many of us forget about how America was established and what it was established for and how things are supposed to work. So let's think about that for just a few moments. If you think about the history of America as in the establishment of America, the people who came here from Europe basically were immigrants, okay? And they established this country so that people from other countries could come here and enjoy the things here that they weren't able to enjoy in their home culture. Specifically, America was established for immigrants so that they could enjoy religious freedom and economic opportunity. The people in Europe hadn't always enjoyed those things, and the people who came here wanted to establish a country so that everybody had an opportunity to enjoy those things, religious freedom and economic opportunities. Here's what you need to understand, given that history, okay, that it is true, it's factual, that America was established by immigrants for immigrants, okay? What that means for you is that you are part of an immigrant family. Okay, even if you were born here, your parents born here, your grandparents, maybe your great-grandparents were born here too, okay? But if you go back far enough in your family, somebody in your family came here from someplace else, right? In my family, on my father's side, my people came from England. On my mother's side, they came from Germany and Holland. Okay, so that's my ethnic history, my ethnic background. I'm part of an immigrant family. So are you. Okay, everybody here came here from someplace else. If you go back far enough in your family history, even Native Americans. We call them Native Americans, but they're not really native to North America. If you go back far enough, there were no people in North America. The people that we call Native Americans immigrated here from Mongolia. And they went across up through Asia and into Europe and then crossed the Bering Straits into what is now Alaska and populated that. It came down south and east and south and populated North America. And we call them Native Americans, but they weren't native to North America. They came here from someplace else. So everybody here is part of an immigrant family. And America was established for immigration, for people to come here. And we welcome legal immigration. The problem is we have a number of people here who want to come into our country, but they don't go through the process as it is structured so they can come here legally. And so they are here as an illegal person. They've immigrated in an illegal fashion. And that's a problem, okay? Now, what we need to understand, another thing we need to understand, I've said that several times in this video, haven't I? We need to remember that every nation of people has borders, and every nation of people has rules for who comes in and how long they stay and what they come in for and so forth. In other words, no country has open borders. If you have open borders, you're not really a country. You can't function properly, okay? It's no different than if you opened up your front door and your back door and raised up all your windows and just let anybody who wanted to come into your house anytime and say, okay, I'm here now, so, get used to it. I'm going to be living here, so where do I sleep? I sleep on a couch tonight, but then after that, I expect someplace to be able to sleep, and, well, we would say, oh, wait a minute, hold it. This is my house. You can't just come into my house as if it were your house. It's not your house. It's my house. Okay, now, that's an analogy. Granted, and then every analogy breaks down at some point, but you understand there's something similar here. It is just not possible for us to just open our borders and let whomever wants to come into our country whenever they want to in an unregulated fashion. That's just not possible. There are rules to be followed. My wife and I have traveled quite a bit. We've been to 10 different countries. Now, for some people, that's not that many. We know people that have been to 20, 30, 40, 50 different countries, but we've been to 10, and every one of them had entry regulations. They wanted to see our passport. They had to issue us a visa. They asked us questions. Why are you here? How long are you going to be here? What are you going to be doing? Those sorts of things. See, and they have a right to do that. Why? Because it's their country. They have a right to regulate their borders, see? And so do we. Illegal entry into the United States must be stopped. Legal entry is fine. Follow the rules. Fill out the forms. Do what you need to do to get here legally. But illegal entry must be stopped. Now, one of the words that you hear quite often in this larger discussion of immigration is the word asylum. People are told in other countries that when you get there, when you get to the border, tell them you want asylum. You're seeking asylum. Well, if you look up the word asylum, you'll see that it has to do with someone who is escaping political persecution and who needs protection. Okay, so let's say somebody lives in a country that has a totalitarian government and people are being treated badly, and so someone begins to speak out against that, and they criticize the leaders, and they're getting very vocal, and so those leaders are getting angry with them, and they're coming after them, and the person has to escape because they know what's going to happen. Their possessions will be taken, they may be put in prison, maybe they might be killed, and they know it's dangerous for them to stay, and so they take what they can and they get out, and they travel to America, and people are after them, and they need to be granted asylum so they can come into this country because they're a political refugee. Well, okay, that does happen. That's true, and it does happen, and that's why it's part of the law, and that's why it's set up that way. But most of the people who come to the southern border seeking asylum are not political refugees. They're just people from a country that's not a very good place to live, and they don't want to be there. They want to be here. Now, I understand why they want to be here. I want to be here, and I'm blessed and fortunate that I was born here, and so are you, so is everybody else who is an American citizen. But the simple fact is, just wanting to be here isn't a reason to grant asylum. That's something very, very specific. And most of the people who come to the U.S. looking for asylum because they've been told that's the magic word, and so use that word, and then you have to be granted asylum. Most of them don't qualify for asylum because they're not political refugees. Now, there may be some immigration lawyers out there are going to say, well, that guy just doesn't understand what he's talking about. I'm an immigration lawyer. I know all this stuff. Well, okay, maybe. I'm not an immigration lawyer. I'm not any kind of a lawyer. Okay, I was a college professor. I taught philosophy and cultural studies. So I'm not a lawyer, and somebody may argue with my understanding of asylum. But actually, it's not all that difficult if you look up what the word asylum means and who it is designed for, okay? It doesn't apply to most people who want to come in here. Now, they have other reasons for wanting to be here, and that doesn't mean that they aren't good reasons and that they're not legitimate reasons, but there's a way for them to get here, and most likely they haven't been on the correct path to coming into America, or they wouldn't be at the border seeking asylum the way they are. Legal immigration is a wonderful thing. It absolutely is. That's what America was set up for, and everybody who lives here is blessed, and we should be willing to let as many people come here as can come legally in an orderly fashion, in an organized way, so that we can let them assimilate into society and become an American. That's why you come to America. You want to be an American. And it's a great thing to be, and we need to encourage that. And we have a system for that. Like I said, about 1 million people a year come to this country. And I have a daughter-in-law who did. Okay, so I'm not anti-immigration in any way. Legal immigration is a wonderful thing. Illegal immigration is not. It's a serious problem, and we need to deal with it. Well, as always, if you enjoyed what you heard today, if this was interesting to you, then maybe down below you'll hit the thumbs up button, the subscribe button too, if you'd like, and the notification button so you'll be notified when more videos are released. And there's a comment section also down below where you could leave comments for us, and we would enjoy hearing from you. So I want to thank you for tuning in today. I want to tell you about another book I wrote. This is not about immigration. This is just another book I have. It's called Why Millennials Think Differently. A number of people who are part of the older generations are a little bit confused about millennials and what their thought processes are and why they think the way they do and why they reached some of the conclusions that they've reached, apparently. And in this book, I try to explain that. It's a book that I think you might enjoy if you're asking some of those questions about the millennial generation. So it's available through Barnes & Noble, also through Amazon in paperback or as an ebook. You can get it either way. So if you're interested in that, take a look. We want to thank you for tuning in today. Hope you'll come back again, and we appreciate you looking at our channel. Thanks.